the end. But we're going to go through encounters specifically one at a time. So Starger is really cool. I'm really disappointed I didn't get to test him, but he seems awesome. So we're going to watch Tali's perspective of this, because Tali tested this back in Worlds of Draenor, back before Legion was live. So Starger is a fun fight. It goes through multiple phases, and the abilities, they change throughout the entire encounter, but you're dealing with the same style of abilities. Excuse me. The first ability is the coronal ejection, as well as the cast. Now, the boss never moves. He will always be in the middle of the platform, no matter what. Starburst is the tank ability here, so tank's taking a little bit of damage. There's only 2 abilities in the first phase. First phase is from 100 to 90%. We heroed here, I don't know why, whatever. So yeah, Starger being burst down. Now what's going to happen is coronal ejection. Hopefully we get it for the timer. And yeah, the ejection happens, just it does some damage to players. It's not a big deal. You can see there on the raid frames on the right side there, Eyelid, Elandril, Lurchi, and Valk got hit with it. It's just a small debuff. Not a big deal. But it does change later on. So now, we go into the next phase. So now, you can sort of see in the background, Tali's got a really bad perspective of this. The room starts breaking apart, sort of like Kael'thas, and you're getting into space, and there's stars everywhere. It's a visually, like, it'll blow you away. Like, honestly, you should spend a wipe just looking at the stars. It's that cool. So, with the abilities here, the first one that we'll go through is the Ice Burst. And basically what happens is the tank keeps taking damage. It's a really small ability. It's any players nearby the tank, so that's why there's nobody near Tali. They take damage as well. Super easy. Just don't say any of the tank. The debuff from phase 1 returns as well. So there's the Ice Bursts. Alright. Ice Burst, Ice Burst, Ice Burst, which is fine. Take some more damage. Alright, Gravitational Pull. So when Towley... When things are being attracted to Towley, right, he has a gravitational pull upon him. He is actually having comets land on him because of his... How popular he is, right? So on the left side of his screen, on the top left, you see these impact incoming. That's his weak aura that says, hey, I've got a comet on me. So watch what happens. Comet's going to land here. So at this point, we switch tanks. 3, 2, 1. And a comet lands on him. So now he has a stack of this debuff. This debuff keeps getting reapplied more and more and more. So it'll stack higher and higher and higher. It does a lot of damage. And the only way to get rid of it is by having your players run over to you, 3 players run over to you, and take that frost debuff away from you. So they're sharing your heat with the tank, and you take that debuff off him. So that's the frost debuff right there. Oops, sorry. Back to my note there. So, well, why can't you just have the same people run over and over and over? Well, look what happened to these guys. They get frozen. If you have the frost debuff already, if you already soaked it off your tank and you try to go again, you're stunned for 10 seconds. So this is why you're going to have a rotation of probably 2 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 3 rotating in and out to soak that debuff off the tank. Because if you allow this debuff to stack too many times, your tank will die because it's so much incoming damage. And here comes the last comet. 3, 2, 1. There. And at this point, they're going to swap. So now Psychomantis will have that debuff. So in the first phase, there was that, what's it called? The little arcane ability that came out. This one will be frost infused, so the abilities change based off which element against it, like Spellblade Oriole. You can see them running off to the side there, dropping off their debuffs, because they will explode to anybody nearby. It does a shit ton of damage. So if you have a blue circle around you, run away from the group. If you are near somebody else, you will kill them. So you can see on the right side of the screen there, the players are staggered. They're overlapping them, but they're not on top of each other, because they will kill each other. And so whoever has it here, somebody was really slow. Oh, they're really slow. That was Elandril. So he did a ton of damage. He killed one of the hunters here, looked like. So it does a lot of damage to the entire raid. And I mean, that's mostly it for the frost phase. Yeah, you'll cast. So the only other thing is the icy ejection, right? There's ejections, which are the raid wide abilities. You'll cast it on more and more people each time. So the first time you might get like 2. and then 3, and then 5, and then 7. So lots of people are moving out. And each phase changes based off percentage. So it is a bit of a DPS check here as well. Otherwise, everyone's going to start getting the pulsating, the ejections on them. And then the last ability is the Frigid Nova. When's the Nova casting here? What is it? Is it a timer? I don't know. Basically what Frigid Nova does is it does a shit ton of damage, but the more people that are stacked in together, the less damage it does. So if you have nearby friends giving you body heat, you will take less damage, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. I don't think the timer is on here on his screen. Yeah, no, I don't think they really dealt with it. But that Frost Nova, where is it here? Star Augur. Yeah, Frigid Nova. It does 4.2 million damage. Again, that's more HP than you guys have. But for each player up to 4 that you have nearby you, keeping each other warm, you reduce that damage. So you'll take 1 million damage from it. Really easy to deal with. For the most part, most guilds had dealt with this ability by stacking together. That made it a lot easier. Oops, wrong one. Novas don't happen on normal. Maybe that's why. Yep, Novas don't happen on normal. So that was, I guess that's why it was a normal one. Thank you. Thanks for the correction. So anyway, Novas are there. And then they'll deal with so at 60%, he transitions into the Fel phase. So his abilities, his casts turn into to Fel energy. It's no longer Frost. You don't deal with any of that Frost stuff. But there's still the ejections. There's still a gravitational pull, right? The thing that the comets that come down. There's still a Nova. So you see Fel Nova happening there 50 seconds. With the Frost Nova, stack in. With the Fel Nova, run away. With the Fel Nova, which is going to happen in 50 seconds, the further you are away from the boss, the less damage you take, because it'll murder you if you're really close. So you should be by the edges of the room. And someone's going to ask me here, hey, can you fall off the edges? I don't know. I'm sure they tried. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure there's an invisible wall that you cannot fall off the edge, though I'm sure your players would find out very quickly. Here comes the Fel ejection. That'll be the first ability we deal with. Show you guys what happens. Fel ejection is basically it's a debuff. It's a dot over time. And now what it does, think of it as the poison debuff on Renferal. It's a ticking debuff, and you are dropping puddles, or the Serpentrix deal. If you guys remember Serpentrix in Eye of Ashara, same kind of thing. You're dropping puddles wherever you're standing. So don't drop them in melee, run them away. Most guilds will have a designated section to drop these puddles off to make it really easy rather than scattered all over the room. So watch. See those guys that have it? There are right now 1, 2, 3, 4, like there's 6 players that have the debuff right now. They're all going to use one side of the room to drop it off. You're going to keep moving it, dropping it off on the far right side of the screen. Yeah, they want to use one side. And now what happens is, so in the second phase with the Frost, you had that ice comet coming down, right? You have to soak. With the Fel comets, they land on a tank, they do damage to everybody nearby, however, they will clean up the Fel puddles. So the puddles are coming down right now. So you see our other tank, Psycho, he ran to the far side there, he's going to start cleaning it up. And you'll see Tally do this later. There. Puddle, yeah, the comet lands, and he starts cleaning it up. Another pull here. And he's cleaning up as much of this room as he can. So ideally, when you have this debuff, try to use the same side, because you're going to make it really difficult for your tanks by spreading everywhere, right? Stay nice and close. Use one small section of the room if possible to deal with it. Yeah, we missed Psycho. Gravitational pull. So Fel Nova should have happened at this point, but because it's on normal, it doesn't happen. So look what Tally does. Tally runs over here. He starts cleaning it up, right? Good job, Tally. He's going to horse over soon, I think, to the opposite side. There. Where's your horse? Horse! I guess not. There you go. There's his horse, and he goes clean it up. So, again, Paladins might be really good at this too, right, for their Crusader ability. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's the same abilities, they get infused by different elements, and they change slightly, which is really cool, because you're dealing with the same stuff. You are learning as raiders, but it gets cooler every single time. And now the last one will be Arcane, or Void, rather. Did I miss one? Anyway, so that's pretty much it. There's the Comets, which are landing on tanks. Comets is always a tank ability. You're cleaning up puddles. If the debuff is on you, you're dropping puddles somewhere off to the side. Beyond that, the Fel Nova, which is the Hork ability, move away from the boss. Alright, we're going to transition to the next phase soon. Yeah, they're cleaning up the puddles there. There's the ejection on Ariana, Elangelo, and Indy. Gravitational pull, and Tyler's going to go clean up again. Good job, Consuela. Good job. Alright, so now we've transitioned into the next phase. This is the void phase. So again, like more of the room gets like split apart, but because of Tali's view, you can't see it. Like it's such a magnificent magnificent room that you guys can get blown away by, like Algalon style, really cool. So the void phase is the last phase of this encounter. It is a little bit more complicated, pretty fun as well. Let me go with my notes. There, Tank phase 2. Alright, so first ability is Void Burst. Void Burst is super simple. Basically, it does damage on you or the tank, and you rotate it. Now, when it expires, it jumps to 2 more people. So if you guys remember doing Sinestra, for those of you that are old school raiders, remember that healing buff that when you dispelled it, it jumped to 2 players, and then jumped to even more players, and it was super annoying. Very similar style thing here. So you want to keep your stacks as low as possible. So the tank has it, taunts off, it jumps 2 other people, and that 2 jumps to 4, and then to 8, and then 16, and it just keeps jumping and jumping and jumping, getting higher and higher stacks when it expires. So you want to minimize how many stacks you have. So at this point, Psycho has 3 stacks. That's 4 stacks. Yeah, that's too many. Anyway, so you want to minimize how many stacks because it's going to jump to the rest of your players. In addition, you have little Voidlings spawn. Voidlings are super annoying. If they melee you, they will give you more stacks of this debuff, right? It's basically a dot. The more stacks of the dot, the worse you are off. I can't recall if they were stunnable. Somebody can correct me there. I'm pretty sure they're stunnable. AoE them down. They're not a huge priority. Just AoE them if you can. They're really simple to deal with. And then, very soon, we'll have the next ability here. Void Nova is also something that happens on Heroics. There's always a Nova, right? From Frost to Fel to Void Nova. Void Nova just does AoE damage and gives everybody 1 stack of the debuff. So you want to have as few stacks as possible. Again, that's where you would use some of your major cooldowns. Now, the other really cool thing about this encounter is the ad, right? It's called Thing Which Should Not Be. It's the Thing Which Should Not Be. It's a big-ass ad that casts a Witness the Void cooldown. And basically, you know, the big gravitational pull, right? Well, you pull down a comment that had a Void as a tank. So the off-tank should be pulling it away, because if you're too close with the thing that should not be named to the boss, he doesn't take any damage, right? Think of it like Hellion and Heimdall. Sorry, Herja and Heimdall. If they're too close, they don't take damage. So it's a thing that should not be named. And it's tanked really far away. It is a priority target. You want to burn the crap out of this thing, if at all possible. You're still AoEing the Voidlings. You're blowing the crap out of this thing. This is where you may want to use your hero as well. And now, Witness the Void, it does damage. And then if you're facing it, so you guys remember that boss in Vault, where if you're facing the eyes, you get disoriented? Well, this will fear you for 8 seconds. That's bad. That's 8 seconds of not doing anything, but thumbs up your asses. Let's see if anybody gets feared here. So Tally turns himself away. Good job, Tally. And they're back to this. Witness the Void cooldown. I think they killed it for the second one here, so they just absolutely blew it up. Witness the Void. Yeah, they killed it for the second one. But again, tank it away from the raid. It is a priority target, and then burn the boss. Again, killing these Voidlings. Because you can see there, on the right side of the screen, Tally has good raid frames. He's tracking how many debuffs these guys have. And the more debuffs you have, the more damage you're going to take. So right now, Ganor, Ashtanga have 16 stacks. That's quite a bit of damage. Again, Void Burst, same thing. Like, it's going to give you more stacks. Let it expire. Gravitational pull on Tally. So Tally's going to run away. Right, he wants to run as far as... There, so you can't fall off. Tally just tried. The Comet will land on him in a second. The Thing Which Should Not Be. So he's tanking it off to the side there. Because we were so close to killing the boss, I think they said, hey, just burn the boss at this point. But that's what it looks like. It looks like a Void thing, which might allude to some really cool lore in the future, right? More Void bosses. But yeah, it's a really fun boss. from what I've seen, really pretty. You can see sort of the stars in the background. But again, when the stuff breaks away, it's really Algalon, really looking cool, stuff like that. Witness of the Void, Tally turns away. Otherwise, again, you do get feared. There's nobody getting feared right now that I see. I hope not. But yeah, it causes you to run around. You're not doing anything at that point. So no, know that. Again, pretty straightforward encounter, pretty fun. Let me know if there's any questions about this one, Star Augur. How much damage was that thing doing in that last phase? Where are you? Void Ejection, Void Nova. No, that's not it. Yeah, I think it's the Void Ejection, just more damage. And Void Bursts. Void Impact, where am I here? Yeah, 84,000 damage, and it stacks. So 84,000 damage per stack, that can get quite high. I don't know what the plan will be. I really don't care, honestly. Will I do Stargar before Tichondrius? Probably. I think it's a much simpler encounter than Tichondrius. Tichondrius will be pretty complicated. Stargar, not so much. I think the amount of movement involved in Tichondrius is quite high, and it'll be a big roadblock for a lot of players getting used to it. Similar to, again, Gorfine, somebody mentioned earlier. Oh, you missed your favorite boss, Miranda, sorry. Any other questions? Let me see, what questions do we have here? No, there's no questions on Stargar. Again, pretty simple fight, pretty fun. That leaves us with 3 bosses left. We'll do High Botanist next. And High Botanist is also the other boss I did not test, but I'm pretty well versed with its mechanics and abilities as well. So again, we'll be using one of Towley's videos because he was doing with that. How do you get stacks? Only by the Nova and Voidlings or mechanics? So, okay, good question. So the Voidlings, where are they? Little Voidlings, where are you? Void Eruptions. So a Void 1 Horror whose melee strike inflicts shadow damage, and they give you Bursting Void, which gives you more Void Burst stacks, right? More of those Void things. Void Burst that's the ability, right, for healers and tanks. So when it falls off, it starts splitting to more and more people. The other thing is Void Nova. That gives you a stack of Void Burst, right? The big ability in that last phase is Void Burst, and it acts as a bit of a soften rage, because the longer the phase goes on, the more Void Burst you're going to have, and then your raid's going to start slowly falling apart.